So what's up people and welcome to the Mission 64 discussion of Spy Family. So Mission 64 came out about 4 days ago, and as always I will leave a link to this mission that's currently being shown on the publisher's official website, Manga Plus, for free to the North American audience. So if you're interested, go take a look at it before they pull this mission back. Okay, so 64 was really nice in that it brought the story back to the interesting antics that go on in Eden College. And it's been a while since we've seen the story cover this area, since much of the recent stories have been very dark themed, and whenever there is a lighthearted chapter, it revolves around characters that are somewhat outside of the main Spy Family characters. And so it was really nice to see the chapter revolve around Anya and her school experience once more. And I have to say, I'm not sure about any of you, but I found the first image of Anya in this chapter to be really, really cute. I'm not exactly sure why, but I found this to be very wholesome. Now, not only is Mission 64 about Anya's experiences in school, but it revolves around Anya and Mr. Henderson, and the chapter involves a tremendous amount of quality time that the two have together. Although I'm not sure if Mr. Henderson will consider this to be truly a quality experience. After all, this is Anya that we're talking about, but I found this chapter to be very interesting, and it does, in the end, turn out to be a very quality experience for Anya. Now, this chapter starts with Anya preparing to go home after school, but Mr. Henderson notices her and asks her to help him take some material back to his office. And in the beginning, Anya is like, I don't want to do that. And Mr. Henderson, smartly enough, offers Anya some tea cakes, and that immediately makes Anya decide to tag along with him. And this turns out to, of course, be some very in-depth and somewhat spiritual conversations with regards to Anya's experiences at school and how she feels about it. But considering this is Anya, the responses that Mr. Henderson gets are not exactly what he expected. And you already see that there are very interesting reactions from Mr. Henderson with regards to her responses. And considering the fact that Anya is a telepath, you would expect that she would be able to leverage this time to help gain respect from Mr. Henderson and bring her closer to another stellar star. But because this is Anya, the conversations just go off into the wrong direction, regardless of how much mind-reading skills she has. And eventually, as they get closer to his office, they pass this hallway that has all of the portraits of the past Imperial Scholar graduates on the wall. And the discussion turns to the reasons for why stellar stars are important, how it has helped many of these alumni grow in character to become people who were able to give positive influence to society. And from Mr. Henderson's view, that is probably the most important thing, is that the stellar stars and this program helps identify people who can become very strong characters, and the school helps to nurture them that way. And of course, this conversation makes Anya wonder, will she ever get to a point where she might be able to become an Imperial Scholar? And Mr. Henderson gives the proper answer by saying that that is not something that he could answer, but it's something that she needs to figure out herself. In that the only person who can really influence her ability to become an Imperial Scholar is her. And then we go back into some very comical discussions again, where Anya finally gets to receive her tea cakes. And as their conversation moves forward to Mr. Henderson trying to see whether he can help nurture Anya further, Anya's like, well, I'm finished with my tea cake, so bye. And she goes running off. And we see Mr. Henderson's reaction with regards to this entire situation. But fear not, Mr. Henderson, for you have made a change. Anya has become more thoughtful with regards to what she should be doing to improve herself. And in fact, there was enough influence during the conversation that once she gets home, she asks Lloyd whether he would be able to help her with her studying. And the reaction we get from Lloyd is not what I expected, because what I expected was that he would be overjoyed, but instead he almost faints again because he feels that the only reason Anya would be trying to study is because she must have received yet another tonitrus bolt. And so the chapter ends with a very comical twist. But I like these sorts of chapters because although it really doesn't move the plot along, it does help give depth to the character, and as comical as it is, there is that small sliver of development that you see in Anya through the discussions that she had with Mr. Henderson. And so how this will change Anya, I'm not exactly sure whether Anya will be significantly different after this point, and I got a feeling that it's probably not. But it is these small points that will probably help Anya move forward, and because of that, I find these sorts of chapters to be very wholesome. So anyway, that is the chapter 64 discussion of Spy Family. How did you feel about this? This isn't really specific to Operation Strix, but did you find the conversations that Anya had with Mr. Henderson to be quite in-depth, regardless of all the comical nature that came with it? Any comments that you can provide will be greatly appreciated. And once Mission 65 comes out, I'll bring up another video, and I hope you join me at that time. And until then, happy manga reading. And as always, Jaya, nice day, everyone.